don't know about you, but I love the lights around Christmas time, the decorations. We had fun decorating here yesterday, and I am so grateful to all the people who really go out of their way to deck the halls on their houses. I never do it, but I love seeing and appreciating what other people do as far as really bringing some great cheer. There are certainly neighborhoods that just are outstanding to drive through. You can almost feel the exuberance and the energy that these people pour into decorating their houses. Thousands of lights and different displays. And I find it interesting to see all of the different types of decorations that people use. Usually, you'll see a nativity scene. That's one of the staples around Christmas time. But then you'll also see Santa Clauses and his workshop and reindeers. There was a neighborhood in Roanoke where I used to live that also had flying pigs, lighted flying pigs and roosters on the top of the roof, and many different amazing and creative decorations that were out there. In this lighting display, there are some, this is one that I found out there that just has such an array of different ideas and celebrations. There's Thomas the Train and Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation, along with the Nativity and many other different lighted delights out there. And if you really think about this from a purely Christian perspective, sometimes it's hard to reconcile how we have morphed all of this into one big celebration. It's as if there's been this blending of many, many, many stories over the years that we've been celebrating this traditional celebration of Christmas. Some I've heard and see comments occasionally that they're concerned that we're losing the reason for the season. Others might pass their own judgment. And it's oftentimes seen as sort of a distortion of Jesus's birthday. And yet, Christmas has never been about consistency or accuracy. Just like the many lighted displays incorporate the many aspects of tradition and modern culture, in Christianity there has been a long blending of the story of the birth of Jesus that we get presented today. Only two gospels, the Gospel of Matthew and the Gospel of Luke, tell about the story of Jesus, and they tell a slightly different story. And yet, the central theme of all of the New Testament, of all that we carry forth from this birth of the Christ, is around love and light. Certainly, the story of the birth gives us this image consistently of a brilliant star that arises that night, that guides the way of the shepherds in one of the Gospels and of the Magi or the wise men in another of the Gospels. The star, the light, symbolizes that even in the darkest of days, and Christmas falls on the darkest day of the year, the light of faith will guide our way, will bring us to the place that we need to be. The holy season of Christmas, as well as other traditions, share this theme of love and light. And it's shared this theme throughout the millennium. In the ancient Druid tradition, there were fires lighted to celebrate the power of light to overcome the long, dark days of winter. In the Jewish tradition, Hanukkah is known as the festival of lights, where 8 candles are lit. In the African tradition, the celebration of Kwanzaa also incorporates the lighting of 7 candles. And of course, in the Christian tradition, the lighting of the candles refers us and invites us to the different aspects that the birth brings into our own lives. I recently read a story entitled The Other Wise Man, and it was written by Harry Van Dyke in 1885. Maybe you've heard this one, I'm not sure. It tells the faith-filled story of the fourth wise man. He was a Persian magi who was to join the other wise men when the star appeared. And the day came when they were called to set off. And Artaban sets off to join up with his friends. But the journey is interrupted when he stops to help a dying man. He showed up late to the meeting point and finds that the others have left without him. Undaunted, he sets off on his journey to follow the star, but he doesn't make it to Bethlehem in time. The other three magi are gone, and so is the Holy Family. Artaban brought with him precious stones that he wanted to offer to the birth and to this new child that was to bring so much light into the world. And so, still having his precious stones, he sets off on a 30-year journey, following and trying to catch up with Jesus so that he can share his gifts. However, he always seems to show up just a little late, just having missed him because of the responsibilities that he feels to others that he encounters along the way. And they slow him down from this spiritual quest. He experiences some frustration, and yet his faith never wavers. On his journey, he is moved to use one of the precious stones to buy freedom for a mother and her child who is threatened by death from Herod's soldiers. Later, he used another one of his stones to purchase freedom for people who had been sold into slavery that he encountered along his way. His faith certainly fueled his travels, and yet, as he neared the end of his earthly life, he felt like he had fallen short of his spiritual goal. And in his final moments, Jesus appears to him, assuring him that through his many acts of love, through his willingness to be that expression of love, he had unknowingly been the Christ. That which he has sought, he had already had within him and been expressing it. And there was never a need for him to seek elsewhere. Oftentimes, we find ourselves in that same place as Artaban. As we anticipate the wonder and the joy of the season, we can also become overwhelmed with the obligations that go along with it and distracted by the challenges that arise in our life. We might find ourselves complaining about the demands of others and the seemingly fast track of time. I know that's one that it just seems to be outrunning me all the time. We seem to fall short of the spiritual goal of focusing on our own spiritual birth of the Christ within. The truth that Artaban receives in his last earthly moments is the same truth that Jesus offers to each of us. Christ is not a destination, it is a journey. I want you to hear that again and maybe see if you can't seat that in your own hearts. Christ is not someplace we end up at. It is the journey that we take to embody it. We give new birth to the Christ presence every time we extend love to others, even if it means that we get to the place we were trying to find ourselves arriving at a little bit late. When we allow faith to be our guide, we find the perfect places to share our light and our love with those that we encounter on our journey. And so on this day where we open ourselves to a greater experience of faith, I invite you to join with me as we move into a time of meditation, as we look not only to the stars that we see in the sky, but also those stars that light up our own inner being. So just allow yourself for a moment to relax and to be present, letting go of all thoughts about what has been or what is to come. To know that right now, in this very moment, the light and the love of Christ is present. As you become aware of your breath moving in and out of your body, allow that breath to expand beyond the physical confines of your being, to move out into the spaces around you, and to know that the very air you breathe is the very breath of God breathing you. And as you are in this place of inner love and light, see it flooding your entire being. And allow my words to become yours. As I move through this holiday season, I embrace the gifts of love and light. I affirm my faith in the midst of any challenges that may arise. I allow this inner light to guide me to move in or through or around whatever obstacles may keep me from knowing that Christ energy alive in me. I turn in any moment where I feel that sense of overwhelm hit to that spirit within and affirm the light will dawn, and it will. The light will always dawn, and it will for me. Whatever I need to see in this moment, it will be illuminated by the light. Where healing is needed, it will be done as I shine my light in faith. Comfort, assurance, peace flow through me, no less than the comfort and the assurance that Mary and Joseph received as they embarked upon their holy journey. Know that this light moves with you wherever you may travel. It guides each and every step. It is the light of the world. You are the light of the world. And as we shine it brightly, the darkness dissipates. And as you slowly and gently begin to bring your attention back to this time and space, knowing that you will be guided as you walk this path, this holy season, and in faith, you give in whatever way and to whomever crosses your path. And you give birth each and every time in a greater way to that Christ within. And so it is. And so we allow it to be. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Eric Butterworth, who was a prolific unity writer and minister, reminds us that faith is remembering that God is centered in you. God is centered in you always. The question to ask yourself is, where is my consciousness centered? If your thought is centered in materiality, in all of the trimmings and stuff of the season, if it's centered in difficulties, if it's centered in the news of the day, if it's centered in the idea that life just seems to be always happening to me, this, he writes, is going to frustrate the whole flow of the new birth, wanting to be alive within you. God is centered in you. The kingdom of potentiality is already within you. And positive faith is the key to accessing that kingdom. You don't need to become something different in order to release your imprisoned splendor. He continues that you simply need to get your consciousness centered in God, centered in the realization that the whole universe believes in you. Can you embody that the whole universe is seeking to support you, to bring you exactly what you need in order that you can be born anew? The whole universe is flowing. It's flowing right into you with every breath. You just need to accept it, to let it happen, and to let yourself be directed out of that consciousness in a faith-believing attitude. This Advent season, may we come to know that God believes in each of us, you and I, and all of those around us. May we awaken to know that the Christ child is being eternally birthed in us. It is our hope of glory, and it is what we give thanks for in this season. It is our opportunity now to share of our financial good with this ministry. We are so grateful for the many channels of good that we receive. We're grateful for the many channels of good that this community not only supports us with, but supports the greater community that we live in. We've got a whole piles of blankets and socks in there ready to go out to the homeless. And there's still a little window of time if you want to contribute to that also, or to our Christmas support that we're giving the I Can Still Shine. We aren't doing an official passing of the baskets here in the fellowship hall right now, but we've got baskets available for you to drop your gifts and love offerings into. And we also have an affirmation for you to take with you today and to bless you this week. We don't want those of you who are watching us live not have that same opportunity. You can go to our website, centerofunity.org, go to the Give page, and you can give in a number of different ways. And you're going to hear in the announcements, that's not the only way. We've got lots of channels from which we will gratefully receive our good. And there's also an opportunity to receive an affirmation there if you just scroll down the page. So let us take this bountiful good flowing in and through not only this community, but through all of our lives, into our hands and into our hearts, and bless it. Together, divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Thank you.
We want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you for joining us online. Why don't we all stand up together and we'll do our peace song, shall we?
There be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joy as well. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so, as we go into this first week of Advent, we go with that feeling of faith, walking each step of the journey with us. And we also always go knowing our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.